Buenas noches con todos. ¿Me podrían confirmar, por favor, si es que me escuchan bien? Ok, bueno, muy buenas noches con todas y todos los participantes. Bienvenidos al webinar sobre Engineering for Change Fellowship Program. Nos complace contar hoy con la participación y presencia de Jorge Bravo. A continuación, Jorge nos hablará de primera mano sobre este programa que promueve el uso de la tecnología para el desarrollo humanitario, brindando oportunidades de becas y trabajo para solucionar los desafíos más apremiantes alrededor del mundo. Esperamos que la información de hoy les permita decidir si aplicar para esta experiencia de alto impacto que, sin duda, marcará sus trayectorias profesionales como ingenieros comprometidos con el progreso. Este webinar será dictado en inglés y en español. A continuación tenemos la ponencia de Jorge Bravo.
Hola, hola. Gracias, Nico. Gracias a la sección estudiantil de ASME PN, primero por el espacio, por haber creado este webinar con el propósito de informar. Y sí, en realidad la intención es poder aclarar cualquier duda que tengan. eh, Principalmente de la aplicación. Puede ser del fellowship, pero bueno, estamos un poquito intentando dar direcciones para quienes estén interesados en aplicar. Yo, como mencionaba Nico, yo tengo de primera mano la experiencia de haber participado en el programa. Entonces, pues para mí es un gusto compartir lo que yo pude vivir, lo que pude aprender. Y les mencionábamos que el webinar tiene el propósito de ser en inglés y en español, más que nada porque la intención es que quede en un Facebook Live o me imagino que grabado para que más personas lo puedan ver si no lograron conectarse en simultáneo. Entonces, con esto, pues voy a dar inicio a la presentación. Nada más decirles que si tienen cualquier inquietud, la pueden anotar en el chat. Me facilitaría mucho ir leyendo al final, no interrumpir la presentación. Pero pues si ven la necesidad de interrumpirme, también pueden habilitar sus micrófonos, hacer la pregunta, no hay ningún problema. Entonces, empecemos por ¿qué es el Fellowship Program de Engineering for Change? Voy a empezar a hablar en inglés para poder transmitir esta información que es la esencial a más personas y también lo hago porque el programa es en inglés, ¿no? Entonces, un poco el requisito para poder aplicar es que tengan un buen dominio del inglés y pues tal vez con este webinar van a saber si entendieron todo el webinar, pues genial. Y si no entendieron todo el webinar, tal vez falte un poquito el dominio del inglés para poder aplicar el programa. Entonces, vamos. Engineering for Change is an organization that works for sustainable development related to engineering tasks, engineering jobs, and engineering challenges. So mainly, the purpose of Engineering for Change is to be a workforce development program. And part of that, or maybe the beginning of that, it's that they have developed a fellowship program. So a fellowship, in terms of what is a fellowship, might be only a very similar situation like an internship, but with an educational component. So the idea of a fellowship program is to allow everybody that is involved to have a learning component during the program and prepare themselves in a way that the fellowship can nurture their professional development. Okay. Aside of that, I can tell you that engineering for global development is the main task that this program tries to accomplish. So what is engineering for global development? It's just an interdisciplinary practice that aims to improve the quality of underserved communities worldwide through the design and delivery of technology-based solutions combined with building of local capacity. So mainly what I want to clarify here is that the purpose of the fellowship is not to give you a job. The fellowship is not a job, Okay, so the fellowship program is exactly like an internship, but you will have to complete a learning module each week where you can learn about these kind of concepts, these kind of ideas about the global development, how engineering can solve these kind of different tasks. And there's a very clear way to do this. And engineering for global development is a very known concept. You can find master's programs in global development. You can find courses. You can find professional tracks where you can start a career into global development. So this is not something that Engineering for Change has invented per se. It's more like Engineering for Change has been trying to be a workforce development program for this kind of a specific sector of engineering. Okay, so I have a couple of information pieces that I took from the Engineering for Change website. The fellowship program has 30 or more hours of learning program engagement. So this is supposed to provide training and expand the knowledge of each one of the people involved in the program. Just so you know, the fellows are one component of the fellowship. There are fellow managers that are in charge of kind of project managing the different projects that are involved in the fellowship. And there is the management team, and they are kind of like the ones that allow everything here to happen. So mainly one of the things that the fellowship involves also, it's a lot of research work. So I'm not sure if it's like 400 hours of research, but I would say it's up to you. That's for sure. Everybody has its own experience. Everybody involves themselves in different ways. The program requires you to complete kind of like a specific amount of hours devoted to the program, but you can do it on your own pace, or maybe you can arrange something with the the project management team that it's supervising your work. What I can tell is that 30 hours of networking online with peers and expert advisors might be a little bit short. So it's up to you. That's what I'm gonna try to clarify here. If you want to engage in the networking, you can just reach out to a lot of people. And this is something I tell to everybody that I meet in the fellowship and outside of the fellowship. It's totally up to you to say, hey, I am part of Engineering for Change. I am trying to contact you because of these reasons. And just because you say that you are part of Engineering for Change, it's like it gives a lot of relevance to what you're trying to communicate, because people are starting to know this program as a workforce development program, an international program, a very social devoted strategy from ASME to try to engage with these kind of problems. So it's a very big thing that is happening, and a lot of people are being part of it. A lot of experts, a lot of advisors, a lot of mentors in the program. So anytime you feel like, oh, maybe this is just a couple of hours that I will be learning through a course and then they will give me tasks. No, it's completely up to you what you take out of the experience. So what I want to share here is that you have all these components that are very, very well established in the web page. You can go to the web page and look for yourself, but it's always going to be up to you to engage in different ways. I have reached out to, I don't know how many people. I have just said like, hey, my name is Jorge, and I would like to talk to you because I admire your work. I feel like your company has done amazing things and I want to know how to collaborate. Maybe I want to find a job. I have tried to connect because I want to find future engagement in research programs for a master's or a PhD. So it's totally up to you what you make out of the experience. With that being said, we do have big numbers here, because I think that the fellowship program has accomplished so much in terms of the time that it has been like it's not something that has been there for a long time. So with 142 projects reaching out to 49 countries and 89 partners, which means like 89 companies, 89 universities, different institutions that would like to collaborate with Engineering for Change. This program is now something that is changing a lot of things in the way that sustainable development goals are assessed. Why am I saying that? Because Engineering for Change is trying to change this gap between like, oh, we are here to do sustainable development, yeah, but we are engineers and we don't really know much about sustainable development, so we're just going to do technical things. You do yourselves in the sustainable development department. We are trying to make a connection there, and we are trying to engage more people into that connection. Okay, so about my experience, I don't want to go too much into details about the fellowship. You can learn anything about the fellowship in the website, but I want to talk about my experience as a fellow and then my experience as a fellows manager. So when I was a fellow, I had a project that was about the mechanical design of a low carbon chemical plant. If you ask me if I had any previous experience in this field, to be very honest, I didn't. But I didn't say that. I said that I have done a lot of design work. I have collaborated in different projects about energy systems, which was true. I wasn't lying. But to be very honest, you have to be kind of like a bit of a marketing department for yourself when you want to do these kind of things, because it's up to you to mention your accomplishments. It's up to you to mention your projects, even if it's a student project, if it's a course project, everything counts. And what I want to say here is that you have to identify a project that you feel related to, because that's going to give you what's your motivation for the project. That's going to give you enough reasons to apply for the project. That's going to give you the cover letter. Maybe just by knowing why you want to apply to a certain project, you will know what to say about like yourself related to this project. And in my case, my interest in the energy sector and the, carbon capture and storage, renewable energy systems, energy planning. I don't know, I'm all into energy, and I feel like that was key to help me develop a good strategy to convince Engineering for Change management team to hire me as a fellow, to give me this opportunity, because I was just graduating. I wasn't very experienced in the field. So you have to realize how to convince them that you are the one candidate that will be perfect fit for this project. So what did I do? The purpose of the project was to design a modular system about a conversion plant that they had. This company called Obantarla started to develop to try to change these gas flares that you see, these flames. They try to avoid that, because that's just burning gas to prevent some dangerous situations in the plant. So what they wanted to do was to change this into a conversion system that the well gas was going to be turned or transformed or synthesized into fuels. And how did they do it? Well, they had a very big process. This was a kind of a startup not so many years ago. And when I was selected as a fellow for the 2022 cohort, they said, okay, your job is going to be to help in the design department. So we are going to assign a couple of things that we believe that you can accomplish if you do this. Like you can help us maybe design the piping. You can help us design the transportation unit. You can help us design the storage systems for electrical components. So I said like, yeah, of course. I mean, uh, you don't need to be an expert in some of these things to be a fellow. That's the idea of the program. So I'm mentioning all this because I want to clarify that, okay, you don't need to be the best mechanical engineer in piping systems to apply for a piping systems project. You have to get enough confidence that your knowledge is going to be well applied if you are selected for one of the projects, okay? And later on, I got really involved in the project. I wanted to have more meetings with the team. You know, the program says like 25 hours per week. And I was always asking like, can you allow me to be in the meetings of the team, like the company team, not like the fellowship team? I want to hear how do you assess these problems? Like if the pipes are too heavy for the transportation unit, how do you deal with that? Um, and that was surprising because they said like, of course, you can be in all the meetings if you want. If you have the time, just connect to the meetings. So I remember that I had meetings at 4 a.m., for example, because they were in different places. Sometimes I had meetings with them at night for me, some other time for them, because you know this is international. So not all the projects are based in regions that align with your time zone. So sometimes you have to commit to maybe be awake at certain hours that you won't be awake normally, but it's totally worth it. And to finish with this part of the presentation, I learned so much about design, about decision making, about sustainability in decision making, about the economical aspect of the design. All the time they were saying like, okay, how much is this going to cost? Because every single change makes huge impact in the final cost of the project. So I also learned a couple of software tools that I wouldn't say like, oh, the fellowship gave me the knowledge I have. I already had a lot of that knowledge, but I learned how to apply it into something real. And later on, when my part of the project was finished, Ovantarla changed their name to M2X Energy. And that was a really interesting part where I said like, okay, so this is it. I finished the part that they assigned to me. I finished every task. That's it. Thank you so much. I'm going back home to my normal life. And okay, that's it for me. But I didn't realize how engineering for change was going to allow me to keep collaborating with a lot of people, keep engaging myself in these kind of scenarios. And the most satisfying thing that happened was that a couple months later, M2X started posting that they have already built what I was trying to help design. And as I mentioned, I didn't design the system. I wasn't like, okay, they gave me an idea and I made the system. No, I collaborated in modifying certain things, changing for example, the transportation unit had to be changed because the weight was not allowed in that many shafts of transportation. I mean, a lot of things that I had no idea about. Honestly, I was sometimes very lost, but I am one of those people that says it's better to be curious than being judgmental. So I said, okay, I don't know, sorry. Can you tell me more about it? I don't really know about this. I don't know how to do what you assigned to me. Can you teach me? And that's the power of the fellowship. You have an entire team to support you. So if you lack knowledge in the software that you said like, oh yeah, I know that software. Yeah, maybe you don't know that specific part. It's not like, oh, We believed in you and you failed. You have to rely on many people that support your work. So a couple of months later, M2X was building the first test units. Then a couple of months later to that, they were building the first transportation system. And then just 5 months ago, or I think, yeah, 5 months ago, they had the first system to test in the field. So we are talking that between the time that I did my fellowship, that I finished my fellowship, uh, it was less than a year, and they were already testing what I did, like what I helped to do. Yeah, I hate to say that I did it because I didn't do it by myself, or I cannot take the credit. But obviously, you feel like, oh yeah, I know how did the design change because of these factors and everything. And up to this day, I still in touch with them. Every time they open a job offer, I said like, maybe that's for me. But it's a bit complicated because international contracts are a different thing. So yeah, but that's something that I want to share with you. These things are not something theoretical. These things are happening. So you are going to be collaborating in a project that is already launched. Most of the companies that join E4C, Engineering for Change, to seek fellows are in a stage of investment trying to grow. So most of the companies have already started building their prototypes, their systems, their platforms. Sometimes if it's a website, they already have something running. So that's what E4C is about. And just to give you a perspective, in 2023, all of the companies on the left side and some universities you can see there, I think that there were some non-government organizations too. Yeah, like a lot of institutions were part of the fellowship on 2023. So the good news are that in 2024, we have more institutions that are part of the fellowship. So that's good news because more projects are trying to reach E4C to seek collaboration with a fellow to develop very specific tasks. Like, okay, this is a company that seeks to develop a website where agriculture education is free, and more people in certain regions that have no access to very good technical education can just engage into a better technifications of their systems in agriculture. Yeah, perfect. What do they need? They need a fellow that can develop some sort of database. Okay, so what are we looking for? And all this process of getting to know the company, getting to know what they expect from the fellowship, getting to know what they try to accomplish through the fellowship takes a long time. So while you are preparing your applications, everything is happening on the background. And everybody in the team, the uh, program management team. Sorry, I tend to use these acronyms because it's kind of like how I remember. They are doing this. They are trying to engage more companies. They are trying to reach out. Hey, we heard that your company has launched. We want to offer this collaboration with the fellowship, or maybe they reach through different like partner organizations that say, hey, I have a friend that just launched another company. Maybe he wants to get into the fellowship. And that's exactly what happens with the fellows. So when I was applying, there was just one fellow in the last cohort from Ecuador. And I tried to contact him. He is now a very good friend. He was very supportive with me in the process. So I said, like, having the opportunity to contact somebody that has already the knowledge of the fellowship gives a lot of clear lights into what am I getting into. And also sometimes it's all about like, hey, can you just help me understand what is a cover letter? Can you just help me understand what kind of resumes should I send into this application? Or maybe Am I understanding this right? This project says like they need CAD design. So it's the same CAD design that I know. So sometimes it's just about the little details, but sometimes it's also about people feeling like they have not gained enough knowledge and they will not be able to collaborate in the fellowship effectively. So what I would say to you is, I'm sure that between all of these projects, at least one, if not two or three, would be a perfect fit for you to develop a little bit more of skills as a professional in your field. If you're a mechanical, electrical, civil, agro-industrial, I don't know, industrial engineer, like anything. If you have a very specific field of interest, try to look for the right project for you and apply. Okay. Uh, okay. So now, thank you, Adrian. Now to talk about the learning component of the fellowship, I would like to give a little bit of light to all of you. So what is the learning component of the fellowship? It's not like a university class. It's not like a course that you have to complete online. It's a very engaging experience. So you get specific topics, and as you can see here, it's very well organized since the beginning. So from the first week to the last week of the fellowship, you have specific topics, and the learning components involve people that are experts in these areas being invited to give you a talk. Not so much a lecture, but a talk. And after the talk, you can debate with all the other peers in the fellowship. So that for me was like, yeah, this is what I was looking for, because there are very few spaces where you can really raise your voice and say like, yeah, this is happening in my country. I can't believe it's happening in all of these countries too. What did you do to solve it? Or how did you approach this problem? Maybe some people are in a more advanced stage solving some specific social issue. Maybe some of them are a little behind too. So you can just, I don't know, you can just learn so much from these debates and conversations. I don't want to tell that it's just like a monologue of an expert talking to you, and you hearing through the headphones, and then saying like, okay, I finished the learning module number 3. Okay, that's part of the fellowship. I have to do it. Some people engage so much that end up going into one of these areas, for example, climate action. And they say like, hey, hello everybody in the channel of the fellowship. I am looking for an opportunity to do research. I am good with Python and different, you know, programming tools that can be good for climate prediction. I don't know. And somebody replies, and then they connect with a professor that was a professor for somebody else. And I have seen people go to master's studies. I have seen people go into university exchanges. Like, everything can happen. Everything. It's just up to you. So I'm not saying like Engineering for Change provide master's programs. Engineering for Change provides intercultural exchanges, so you can travel to a different country. That's not part of the program, but it's totally something that can happen because of the program. You will learn so much about the possibilities that I hardly believe that you can just stay and say like, oh yeah, this was all about having a recognition for being a fellow. It's what's going to happen after you finish the fellowship, what's bigger than the fellowship. But just to give you an example of what the fellowship also provides as part of the fellowship. For many years, the fellows are invited to volunteer as members of the iShow, which is a competition that ASME has developed to engage more people into the entrepreneurial side of social, no, it's not social, it's engineering for global development. So many social issues are looking for solutions into different countries. For example, in Latin America, we have very similar situations with poverty, with education, with energy access, with technology access. So many of these issues can be solved through funding. And what I mean by funding is not you getting a lot of money to do something, but your idea getting money to be developed. So iShow is one of these contests, and Engineering for Change provides the support with the fellows to be, facilitators, judges. Sometimes you end up competing in the iShow because you are an entrepreneur and you say like, yeah, I am in the fellowship, but I want to compete in the iShow because I didn't know about the iShow, which was my case. Um, a lot of fellows have competed. A lot of fellows have, I wouldn't say a lot of them have won in the past, but a lot of them have accomplished so much thanks to the iShow, thanks to the fellowship, thanks to ASME, because this is a support network more than just like a bunch of people trying to do something uh, online and then forgetting about everybody else. Most of the alumni of the fellowship stay connected, and just to finish with the iShow part, there are 3 iShows globally. I think that most of the people that try to compete from their region look for the one that is closer to the region, but I don't think there's uh, something that says that you cannot compete in any of them. So if you are interested in, oh, maybe the fellowship isn't for me, but the iShop definitely is for me, reach out, let's talk. I know a lot of things about people engaging in the iShow, and for sure you can reach them. I would love to see more people from Ecuador involved. I really hope that I get to compete one of these years. I haven't had the chance, but maybe, who knows? Maybe that's the next step for me. And now let's go with the fellowship application. So the application is already open and it's going to close on February 4. So you still have plenty of time. You have a month. I think that that's plenty of time because the requirements are not something that you have to go and ask to the president of your country. It's just things you can get from your university. You need 2 references, and I will completely suggest that the references are from people that has worked with you. Okay. Professors are good, like references from professors are really good, but we hope to see. Well, I'm still saying we as if I were still part of Engineering for Change. At the moment, I am not part of Engineering for Change. I just finished my collaboration from this year. I'm hoping to go back in the next cohort. So I just want to clarify that just as you are applying to be fellows, I will be applying to have a collaboration, a position collaborating with Engineering for Change as a fellows manager, or who knows, whatever they need me to do, I'm totally up to it, and I would love to keep collaborating with them. But it is me trying to do some good for everybody else that wants to get in the program. So back to the application, you need the resume. I will show you the resume that I used when I applied. You need a cover letter that used to be a bit different, but I will show you a cover letter that I have prepared. You have to be an E4C member, so go to the web page, create an account, and go to the web page even if you don't want to apply. The new web page is amazing, and it's a great effort from a lot of people, even fellows, expert fellows, people that has engaged for many years. This is something that has accomplished so much for E4C as the presence of E4C in the global environment of people trying to do something good. So E4C is now on the map. And once you finish all the application process and you have all the requirements, you can complete the online form, which I will cover next. I have a couple of things to mention about it. And then you will have an interview. If you are called for the interview, that doesn't mean that you are selected. That means that you have gone to the next stage. So the interviews are about getting to know yourself a little bit more. It's not going to require more documents. It's going to require just you answering a couple of questions. And this is extremely important. Here is my advice to you. You need to understand your audience. You are not talking to a bunch of 80-year-olds that are into the corporate world, and you are trying to convince them that you are the one that deserves the $2,000 salary. You are trying to talk to people that has devoted a lot of their free time, has volunteered for a long time, and is very, very passionate about sustainability, global development, things getting solutions, like problems getting solutions thanks to engineering. So in the interview, try to think about it. You need to convince a lot of young people, like myself. I was part of the last year interviews, and it's surprising that a lot of people come with a different preparation. Like they expect an interview to be like a boss or somebody that is already like very corporate. No, this is pretty much what you get. Of course, there are more people, but we are all into the same vibe. So the selection is going to take place by mid-April. And here's another advice. Don't be desperate about the selection. You will be reached if you are selected. If not, well, there are always different ways to engage with Engineering for Change, with ASME, and if you want to know more about it, you can always reach out to me. I volunteered in ASME before getting to know Engineering for Change. Well, reach out. If you're interested, reach out. I can tell you more about it. And the onboarding process will take place very, very, very fast. I'm not joking. It's like in a couple of days, you will have to be ready to go. So this happens because everything takes so much time that we believe that if we have selected, I'm still saying we, sorry about that, Engineering for Change believes that if they have selected a candidate, the candidate is ready to go. So yeah, technically the onboarding process is a bit more like an explanation, takes a couple of weeks, then you are introduced to the project partner, and from there you are supported all the way into the program. It's not like you're on your own. So yeah. Okay, so with that being said, I want to jump a couple of minutes so that I'm not making this too long. If we need to close up, please let me know, Nico, because yeah, I never know when I talk too much. So here are my documents, okay? This is the resume that I used. So as you can see, it's a very basic thing. Oh no, sorry, this is not the one that I use because this one is in Spanish, but it's the same thing in English, okay? So this is not my resume anymore. I have a couple of things have changed, but I want to show you what I used because that's how I got in, right? If you are an undergraduate student, you can mention that you are still studying. It's okay to be studying. You don't have to be graduate by the time that you start the fellowship. It's okay to be a student. Uh, what I would suggest here is make it very clear what you are proud of. Okay. So sometimes we are proud of some projects that are personal. For example, I did this solar panel system for this school in underserved community in my country, just because I like that kind of thing. So please don't think that it's too little, it's too small, it's no, that's what we're looking for. We, uh, engineering for change. Uh, so what I did here was state very, very clearly what is my experience in the industry. As you can see, like a couple of things from industry, a couple of internships, um, university projects, stating very clear that this was like a university project, either if it was for a student section or a class or I don't know, volunteering. And I also stated that I'm very good teaching because I'm proud of that. So if you're proud of yourself being good in sports, just maybe include that. But I don't know, like you have to try to, again, uh, understand your audience. You are going to be showing this to people that are young as yourselves. So don't try to impress with things like, oh yeah, I got an internship in Facebook. So like, good for you. But what did you learn? What was the accomplishment there? What was the experience about? So mention what was the experience about for you. I learned to code in this platform that was new, something, something that was important for you. Because what engineering for change looks for in this kind of document is getting to know you. Like, what do you give importance to? Okay. So if you bring a resume and you say, oh yeah, but the resume don't really reflects what I'm all about. Yeah, sorry, we got the resume and we checked the resume. We thought that you were a very, money oriented person. I don't know. Like sometimes it's easy to see that in these kind of documents. Um, okay, so the cover letter, as I said, that wasn't a requisite for me. So I didn't present a cover letter, but this is a cover letter I developed for the United Nations Development Program position a couple of days ago. So a cover letter is intended to give you a chance to talk in your own words about why do you feel like you are an ideal candidate for the position you are applying to. So please don't waste 3 paragraphs telling me how amazing you are. Try to go into the details as quickly as possible. I have interest in the energy sector and I would like to collaborate in this project because that will give me a path in the energy sector internationally, which is my end goal. Like, I really want to do this for a living. My experience previously was this, like, I collaborated with a professor. I was volunteering in an organization in the county, with the policeman, with the fireman, with somebody. I was a volunteer, and that gave me the perspective of helping people to do something. I don't know, guys. It's up to you, but please don't waste this page just telling engineering for change, oh yeah, I was the best at everything I did, because I am the best and you should choose me because I will be the best and engineer. Oh yeah, no, you are not saying anything there. Like, we don't care how good you are. Why do you think that you should be part of the fellowship? Why the fellowship is important for you? Because if you said, I want to achieve an international career in sustainable development. Okay, that's interesting. What else? What is the end goal? What kind of career? So, you know, that's the cover letter. If you need more assistance, I'm sure that there are plenty of people on YouTube saying, like, you want a cover letter that wins scholarships? This is the channel you're looking for. But, oh, something happened. Sorry about that. So this is the second document that they were asking you to provide. You can provide other documents. Of course, you have to support your English knowledge. So at that time, I didn't have an international language certificate. So I used the one from my university, which is enough. So you just need something that says, like, yeah, this person knows English and I can verify that. And I developed a portfolio. I suggest you all to do this. It's not because I like them. It's not because the portfolios are my thing. It's because it's so much easier to see what you have done if you use images and text and you tell me what did you do in that specific project. I have seen some amazing portfolios applying to the fellowship. Unfortunately, some of them were more oriented into, like, um, let's just say, different things than the fellowship. So it's not like this is different from the resume. This has to align with the resume. If you say in the resume, like, you're a very social oriented person with a lot of your time, you invest that time in, helping people through your engineering skills, show me how. So what I did here was quite simple. I participated in an ASME competition with the design of a human-powered vehicle under international standards, low cost, recycled parts, and safe to the use in the urban environment. Did I do this all by myself? No, I had a team. So I have to mention that. I have to, So that kind of thing, it's like, why did you do it? Like, that's the kind of thing you're going to be asking the interview, for example. Oh, you said that you did this project. Why? Why was it important for you? I was trying to build a vehicle that can be used by handicapped people. Yeah, that's the truth. That's the end goal of this project was this. I didn't want to win anything, but we won third place. But yeah, you have to be very clear about why are you motivated to these things. I did a social project, a black walnut tracking machine for a small business in a community of Ecuador. I have designed many steel frames and structures for, this and that, pressure tanks, bioreactors for uh, agricultural systems. You can highlight anything that you consider important. I include a lot of the projects I did in the university. I included a lot of the class projects. I included some of the research projects. This was my thesis project for graduation. Also highlight anything you consider important. This project gave me an award in an oratory competition. These projects gave me a research paper. This project was the work of my life. Just say it. It's important for you. We want to know why. Also, this I don't think has a specific, we will review later the application, but I don't think here in the application you have, we don't have a space for this, okay? So if that's the case, I haven't reviewed the application in detail. If that's the case, you can include this kind of thing in your LinkedIn account. But it's important that you highlight it. So create a post in your LinkedIn. We check that. When I was doing interviews, I checked everything. Like even if you had any criminal record, I checked everything. And when I went into a LinkedIn account and I saw like, hey, here's my programming portfolio, here's my design portfolio. I said like, let's see what you do. Some interesting stuff. Okay, amazing. I repeat, this is something I did when I was about to graduate. So if that's the case, you have to be very clear about like, what are you proud of according to your situation? If you have been working like me for a couple of years, you are not going to highlight class projects for a portfolio. You will highlight your work, your current work. What are you proud of? These 2 years, these 3 years, these 5 years, what have you been doing? What motivates you? What drives you? Aside of that, I included a writing sample that I did for one of the classes in the university, just saying like, hey, I know that my certification for English is a little bit weak because it's from an institution in a Spanish-speaking country, not an international standard exam. But hey, here is something I wrote. So check it out. I know how to write in English. I am proficient in English. I'm good to go, because you will be having meetings with people in English, so they expect you to understand, right? And engineering meetings, you're not going to be having like classes for English. So, but yeah, if you don't meet the requirement for English, it's probable that you won't be selected. So here's a reference letter, and I'm going to show you it very, very fast so you don't copy it. Okay, no, just kidding. This is my reference letter. A great friend of mine, Rafael, is a professor in San Francisco University. He gave me this letter, and yeah, definitely, I didn't know how to do a reference letter, but unfortunately for you, you will give the email of the references, right? Yep, I think that I'm sure about that. So what I did was send the reference letter. You will have to, well, somewhere in here, it says like your references, please give here it is. No, email address. Oh, I should have checked it a little bit more, but I'm sure that you will be asked to provide, here it is. What is the full name of the reference? What is the email of it? So what's going to happen is that they are going to reach out to the reference, and then the reference will reply, sending answers to specific questions. So I'm not going to lie. I believe that what's going to happen is that your reference is going to tell you, hey, this email arrived. So if you want, we can check the questions together. I don't know, maybe. So try to include two things, okay? And this is what I honestly recommend. Is not a recommendation for engineering for change, is a recommendation from Jorge, your friend. You should include why the reference thinks that you are a good fit for this position, okay? We don't want to hear that the reference thinks that you will be a crack at anything that you do. We need to know why the reference thinks that a fellowship program is good for you. For example, because you are amazing at project management, because you are extremely disciplined and committed to any project you start, for example, this project at university. That's the kind of thing you need to include. Don't try to go like, I have a friend that told me like, yeah, I have a reference, but I wrote it myself, and then my reference signed it for me and said, what did you write? Like, I'm a demigod. So that's not the idea. It's always about what is something that this reference, for example, this person was my professor, so he knew that I had some sort of interest in academic research. Um, I don't know, like, it's up to you what you want to highlight, but go for it and be proud of it. So tell your reference to write about that. I'm mostly sure that you will be getting a chance to review what your reference wrote before they send it. That's not what's supposed to happen, but I'm sure it's going to happen. But try to make the most out of it. Okay. The reference is very important. It tells us that somebody else is validating what you have said about yourselves. And I also sent a couple of these things that are like awards that I won. Just so I understand that's going to change for you. You have very limited space here, but you have very specific questions. So please try to answer the questions, not use the space for answers to something else. So here, why would you like to work in the first project? So you select a specific project, highlight what part of the project you think it's something that resonates with you, with your motivation, with your values, with your understanding, with your knowledge, with your religion, something that is only for you. Because if you use this space to say, oh yeah, because I'm the best, again, it's gonna be like, yeah, this guy is a bit of a narcissist, and yeah, we don't want that in the fellowship. Honestly, that's something that people said last year. This guy is too much into himself. But it's an opportunity for you to highlight the most important parts for you. Okay. So I want to do a quick pause here, quick break here to answer any questions. If there are questions, I'm going to check the chat. Hey, it says Jaiber. Hola, Jaiber. I'm currently enrolled in a master's program, but I'm not sure whether I should continue as a okay. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, if you say like I'm a bachelor student, it's not like, oh, I prefer a master's against a bachelor. It's more like I think it's more about how you portray that you are the one that should be selected for the projects. Because if you say, because something I learned in my master's, I think that I could be a good fit for this project. Okay, maybe we can ask you for an interview, and in the interview you can explain how the master's has influenced you to take this path. But if you say something about the bachelor's or the master's, it's not like, oh yeah, we give preference to people that it's in a master's or PhD. There are some specific projects that require some research experience. So maybe if the master's is for research, that would be important. But yeah, I don't think it's something that's going to be affecting your application. If your answers are a good fit for the questions, and and the projects that you've selected are like very related to your area of expertise, I'm sure that it will be fine. No more questions apparently. So let's check this application. Yeah, let's do this first. So in the application, it says that you only need these things, right? So it's supposed to take only 30 to 45 minutes. Please do this once. Don't submit 3, 4, 5 applications because you think that you can improve the one that you sent first. It's very confusing with everybody's reviewing tons of applications and a lot of people. So the idea of this is just to answer honestly. So be aware that this phone number and this email address would be the ones that are going to be contacted. Please make sure to check spam sometimes because the Engineering for Change email sends massive emails to everybody that is going to the interviews. The filters say that, oh, this is a massive email, so it's a spam. So check, double check. Don't check every minute. The email is gonna arrive a couple of days before the interviews, so it's not gonna be like, oh yeah, we tell you today and you're gonna be interviewed tomorrow. Here's an important question that I was checking. Okay, the world region, it's important to be aware that it would be better if the project you are applying for, it's in a region that can align in the time schedule. Like if you apply to something that is in Asia and you're in Latin America, maybe it would be very difficult to fit the meeting schedule. So preference is given to people that are in the region of the projects, okay? If you think that you will be traveling because you are doing a master's, because you will be on vacation, because you will be taking a leap year, anything, please be clear about the country where you will be during the fellowship. And this is the question. How much time do you have available to commit to the fellowship? So I already told you that the fellowship is kind of like 20 to 25. So if you don't have that time and you answer this, I'm pretty sure, I can't say that I'm 100% sure, but I think that people that reply with this, it's going to be not considered for the interview because we need people that has more time. So, kind of important to highlight that. Here, be honest, don't say like, yeah, I will be studying a master, so I'm a master student already. No. If you have a bachelor, choose a bachelor. If you have a PhD, be proud of it. You have a PhD. Here you have like options. If you don't feel that something aligns, please choose something that's kind of related. It's not like we are gonna be like, oh yeah, this person has a very unique degree. That's amazing. We try to fit people into categories, right? So it's easier to classify them for the projects. Yeah, so I think that this is, yeah, the proficiency level, yeah. So don't go for bilingual proficiency. Be humble about it. But yeah, it's always up to you how you feel this. If you need any assistance, reach out to the email of Engineering for Change. Here's the email. Here. Here, fellows at engineeringforchange.org. So reach out, say something like, hey, I submitted my application, but I forgot to mention that I have, knowledge about nuclear bombs or something. If it's important, the email will be considered. If it's not important, it's okay. And here, please follow the instructions. 2 pages maximum, 1 page maximum. Don't go above the maximum. Here's your chance to share your LinkedIn. So here's my humble advice. If your LinkedIn doesn't look the way you feel like it's the best, take some time and improve it. You won't have a chance to show it again if we have already reviewed it. Okay? Well, Engineering for Change has already reviewed it. Here's your chance to use some codes that are specific for peer referral Early interest, this is given in fairs and events. Project partner, if you have already worked with some of the project partners. So for example, I have a peer referral code because I was a fellow, so they gave me a code. And yeah, if I want to recommend somebody in my behalf, like, yeah, this guy is the best fit, I can give you a code. Unfortunately, I cannot give that code for everybody because then the code will have no sense. So if anybody feels like, yeah, the code can be something that helps me and you know me, please, only if you know me, because if I don't know you, it's going to be hard to trust that you are the one that I should recommend. But if you know me, reach out and tell, hey, you were my classmate, you were my supervisor or something. I want to apply, help me. Yeah, I will happily talk about it. So yeah, this is it. Very simple application. Please don't hold back on yourselves. If you think that you can be a good fit for the fellowship, go for it. Here I have a document that the fellowship program management team shared with all of the ex-fellows, past fellows. So it's interesting because this is what I included in the presentation and I just checked this today, but I already had access to some of these things. So I want to give you a bit of advice. Check what kind of impact project are you applying for. If it's design for good project, it's going to be all about design, development, product development, some sort of technical part of it, maybe a simulations, CAD design, iteration, algorithms, improvement, efficiency, that kind of thing. Impact research, it's a uh, very theoretical thing. You will be doing research, well, not theoretical, more like detail-oriented research. So you will be conveying surveys, maybe you will be having to analyze a lot of data. If that's your thing, impact research is amazingly powerful. They share with you a lot of data that is interesting to see. So for example, here are a couple of case studies, right? Aerial release of seeds to support ecosystem restoration. So here it's design for good, very technical thing. You will be designing something. Impact research, water, energy, food, innovation in the Middle East. So you will do a landscape analysis and an interview-based study, which might be more people-oriented. Advancing workflows is a little bit more of improving the way something is done. So a company is going to ask for the fellow to improve a process, improve maybe the way they share information between themselves, maybe the way they do this kind of drawing. So improve automation of BIM workflows for retrofitting project. Valentina did an amazing job here. Yeah, all the fellows have done really good jobs. Also, if you want to check past project reports, those are available in the Engineering for Change webpage. Exactly, well, I will show you exactly where. First, let's go to the project report. Here you can see what the fellows do as the end result. So most of the fellows are sponsored by the company or Autodesk Foundation or ASME or someone. Someone sponsors these fellowships. Um, it's not like a job, right? So you can read about the project, you can check a couple of images. For example, this was a simulation for a greenhouse, compact greenhouse. Really interesting stuff happening in Engineering for Change. So even if you are not sure you should apply, check this and maybe you will convince yourself that, oh, Esther is from Ecuador, for example, past year's fellow. Yeah, we had like 4 or 5 Ecuadorians last year. So this is Yaman, a good friend of mine. I was supervising fellow for Yaman. He did a simulation in CFD for Beyond the Dome, trying to do some chemical processes. Interesting stuff. Uh, very hard to understand. But yeah, Yaman did his best. I did my best to support him. And yeah, so that's the kind of thing that I would do today to understand what's the fellowship about. Okay. Also, something important about the fellowship is that you will be collaborating in the solutions library. So this is something that everybody in the fellowship and in engineering for change and in ASME should be very proud of, because it's the first and maybe the most developed library of technical solutions for different problems worldwide. So you can find here sanitation problems. You can find, unfortunately, I don't want to log in because I will have to type everything here. So check it, create the user, check it. And if you get into one of these, it will tell you exactly how it's done. It's not like we are trying to, just tell people that this is something interesting and we have no idea about it. We do conduct a lot of surveys. We have calls with the owners of these projects, trying to share the most out of, yeah, unfortunately, some of these are like, uh, not even the owners of the companies know the details, but, So yeah, take a look at it. It's something that you will be proud of, saying like, yeah, I was part of that. I did something for engineering for change. And finally, the advice that I can tell you about following engineering for change in the X Twitter page. Here, interesting things are shared. For example, here's a graduate program for humanitarian engineering. It's something that not many people know about. So all the time you can, here's applications are open. The impact report is now up. We are hiring. Important data about the fellowships, right? What we have done. There are interesting webinars. I will invite you to check the webinars every time you can. Incredible projects sometimes are being shared here and not so many people get involved in them. And just to finish the checking of these websites, you can check the projects here. You go to here, fellowships. So E4C fellowship, and here you can find, here, applications are open, learn more. If you go here to applications are open, it says overview and projects. If you go into projects, you will have access to all the projects that are up this year. So you can check every one of them. You can check all of them. Sometimes a couple of projects open very late because I don't know why, but yeah, they keep these upcoming projects. So if you're not selected for one of these, maybe there's a project that is a better fit for you, and you will be called for that. That has happened a lot. So yeah, here's M2X again this year. So this year they are doing some next step for the, it says design of a transportable process for reduction. Yeah, now they probably are going to try to do some kind of, let's do this smaller. Let's do this easier to transport. Let's do this cheaper. I don't know. So you can check here what is the discipline they are looking for. You can also check what they are asking for. If you don't know about these programs, sometimes they're, I'm not going to say easy to learn, but I'm going to say something that you can learn. So don't hold back because of this. Sometimes they say basic level. So sometimes expert level means that you should know your stuff. So yeah, I think that that's what I wanted to share. Oh, this is a case that I'm really proud of sharing. So Nishant, computers. This is Nishant. He was an Engineering for Change Fellow in 2019, and then an expert fellow in 2020. And then he said like, maybe I want to take part into something like entrepreneurial. So he joined a couple of these innovation labs, and then a couple more of investment rounds and everything, like very little. And then he founded his own thing. And he participated in the ASME iShow in 2021, and he won. And now, with the support from iShow, from a couple of organizations, this is more than a prize economically. This gives you a lot of people that are interested in collaborating with you. So now he's He's somebody that everybody wants to collaborate with into the prosthetic department. And yeah, honestly, I would work for Nishan for free. So the takeaways for me, if you ask me like, what is the most important thing that you would highlight from the fellowship? I would say you get a diverse group of individuals learning how to collaborate and make things happen. That's something that doesn't happen in a lot of environments. If you go into a job, sometimes you learn how to collaborate, you learn how to make things happen, but sometimes the diversity is missing. Sometimes it's it's different. I just feel like it's different. I have been in companies, I have been in academia. I feel like this is something unique. And yep, these are screenshots from my last meetings with my fellows. I was the fellows manager. So these four people were working in project that I supervised. And here it's a day that I invited everybody that wanted to meet just because. And we were having a sip of water. So important stuff. And here I want to share something to finish. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for listening to me for almost 2 hours, I think. Um, Always the most important step to make it to the top, it's the first one. So as you can see here, I am at the top of a mountain. I like to climb, and I can tell you two things about this. Honestly, the first step is the hardest because you have to be willing to go. You have to be willing to wake up like at 3 a.m. to start climbing the mountain because otherwise you will be on the top too late and things get dangerous. And also, if you share a space with like-minded individuals, like friends, like classmates, like peers in the work, sometimes you can accomplish so much because there are days that you don't feel that much motivated or you don't feel like doing stuff. But then somebody says like, hey, did you already do this? I am confused. Let's do it together. And you start checking stuff, you start talking about it, and things get easier. And I promise you, Engineering for Change gave me a once in a lifetime opportunity to meet so many people. I I think I am invited like to 70 countries, 17, sorry, 17 countries where people have told me amazing things about their places they live. So that's the real value of it. Honestly, engineering for change can be not the only one, but definitely for me it was the one. So thank you again for attending this webinar. And I really hope that it can be useful for any of you that decide to apply. Again, if you need anything else and you feel like reaching out to me somewhere, like LinkedIn or I know, yeah, LinkedIn, I think is the best way to reach out to me. Um, please do it. Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. And really, I did this whole webinar in English because I want more people to have access to it. So I will share the webinar with my peers in the fellowship, with my peers everywhere, so more people can get access to this information. Hopefully, we have plenty of applications. I'm still saying we because I'm very positive that I will still be part of the Engineering for Change community this year, even as a volunteer if I don't have any other chance. But yeah, definitely I will love to keep collaborating with them. It's an amazing environment to grow. So yeah, if anybody has questions o si alguien tiene preguntas y quiere hacerlas en español, eh, pues eso. Si no, muchas gracias Nico otra vez. El espacio siempre se agradece a las secciones estudiantiles que pues permiten estos espacios porque si no, no se puede hacer mucha difusión de estas cosas. A veces no se conoce y no llega a todos los oídos que podría llegar. Entonces, eso.
Muchísimas gracias de igualmente, Jorge. Te agradecemos bastante por tu tiempo y igual por contribuir a los demás jóvenes que igual quieren seguir aprendiendo. Si me permiten compartir un momento la pantalla, les voy a indicar dónde van a encontrar toda la información que Jorge nos estaba indicando. Entonces, por ejemplo, acá entramos a Facebook, que imagino que todos lo tenemos, y buscamos ASME, Escuela Politécnica Nacional, y bajamos un poco. Entonces, aquí van a encontrar el webinar que está haciéndose en directo, y justo aquí en la descripción del webinar está donde pueden ustedes aplicar. Entonces le linkean acá, y acá está todo lo que Jorge mencionó. Por ejemplo, acá dice que seamos miembros del Fellow y es totalmente gratuito como se mencionó. Entonces acá igual pueden encontrar todo lo que ya se mencionó. Y entonces, si alguien tiene alguna otra consulta, pues quedamos atentos.
Sí, como les dije, si quieren contactarme, pueden escribir a LinkedIn. Creo que es la mejor manera porque si no llegan muchos mensajes al teléfono o así. Entonces, mejor a LinkedIn y yo pues intento revisar, intento ver si alguien tiene consultas del fellowship. Ojalá pues pueda resolverlas. Y hagan llegar esto a sus colegas, ¿no? Los compañeros que a veces ya se graduaron, pues no, tal vez están trabajando, no tienen el tiempo para ver eh, en vivo. Hagan llegar a quien crean que le pueda servir. Yo tenía esa intención más que nada. Eso, entonces muchas gracias. Cerramos con el webinar y felices fiestas. Cuídense. Chao, chao.
Muchas gracias a todos, felices fiestas.